6 months. That's how long I'd been running from Marcus Halstead, my ex-husband, decorated detective, and the man who'd turned my life into a living hell. 6 months of sleeping in motels where the clerks don't ask questions. 6 months of changing my hair color in gas station bathrooms. 6 months of looking over my shoulder until my neck ached, and my hands shook every time a car door slammed. The restraining order I'd fought so hard to get, it disappeared. Just vanished from the system like it never existed. Marcus made sure of that. When you're married to a cop, the law doesn't protect you. It protects him. I'd made it to Portland by bus, paying cash, using a fake name at the station. The rain that evening felt like a baptism. Cold, relentless, washing away whoever I used to be. The street market was crowded, which was exactly why I'd chosen it. Crowds meant safety. Crowds meant I could disappear. I was wrong. I saw him across the street. Marcus, his tall frame cutting through the crowd like a shark through water. That same purposeful walk. That same way of scanning faces, eyes moving with predatory precision. My breath caught in my throat. My hands went numb. He was a block away. Then half a block. Getting closer. Panic seized my chest, the kind that makes your vision tunnel and your thoughts scatter like roaches when the light turns on. I couldn't breathe, couldn't think, couldn't run because my legs had turned to stone. That's when I saw the stranger. He stood at a vendor's stall examining vintage watches, completely still in a sea of movement. Tall, maybe 6'2", dark hair, wearing an expensive coat that didn't belong in this part of town. But it was his hands I noticed first. Steady, controlled, the hands of someone who'd never panicked a day in his life. I didn't think. I just moved. My fingers wrapped around his arm, and the leather of his coat was butter soft under my touch. He turned, and I found myself staring into slate-gray eyes that reminded me of winter storms, beautiful and deadly. "Please," I whispered. The word came out broken. "Pretend you know me. Just for a minute. Please." He looked at me for 3 heartbeats. I counted them because mine had stopped. His gaze moved from my face to something over my shoulder. Marcus, I knew without looking, and something shifted in those gray eyes. Something cold and calculating. Then his arm wrapped around my waist, pulling me close with a possessive familiarity that felt rehearsed, practiced, like he'd done this before. "There you are," he said, and his voice was smooth whiskey and smoke. I was starting to worry. Marcus appeared at my elbow. I felt him before I saw him, that familiar dread that had lived in my bones for 3 years of marriage. "Alara." Marcus's voice dripped false concern. He'd perfected that tone, the one that sounded loving to strangers but carried threat in every syllable. "I've been looking everywhere for you, baby." The stranger's grip, on my waist, tightened slightly. Protective. His other hand came up to brush my hair back from my face, a gesture so intimate, so convincing, that for a moment even I believed we knew each other. "I don't believe we've met," the stranger said to Marcus. His smile never reached his eyes. "I'm Dimitri. Just Dimitri. No last name. Like, that was all the introduction anyone would ever need." Marcus stared at him, really stared, and then I saw something I'd never seen before on my ex-husband's face. Fear. It flickered across his features for just a second before he locked it down behind his cop mask. "Detective Marcus Halstead." Marcus's hand moved to his badge, a reflex, a reminder of his authority. "I'm Alara's husband. She's been having some difficulties, mental health issues. I'm sure you understand." The lie was smooth. He'd told it before. Would tell it again. "Ex-husband," I managed to say. My voice was steadier than I felt. "The divorce was finalized 4 months ago." Marcus's jaw clenched. That was his tell, the muscle that jumped right before his fist did. Dimitri pulled me closer, and I caught the scent of his cologne. Cedar and something darker, something that reminded me of expensive cigars and older money. "The lady seems quite clear on your relationship status," he said. "I think it's time you left, Detective." The silence stretched between them. I could feel the tension like a physical thing, crackling in the air. Marcus was armed. I knew because he was always armed. His hand twitched toward his hip. "Don't," I thought. "Don't do something stupid in front of all these witnesses." But then Marcus looked at Dimitri again, really looked at him, and whatever he saw there made him take a step back. Then another. "This isn't over, Alara," Marcus said. But he was already retreating into the crowd, his eyes locked on Dimitri like he was memorizing his face. I didn't realize I'd been holding my breath until he disappeared. Then my knees buckled. Dimitri caught me easily, his arms still around my waist. "Steady," he murmured. "Not here, not in front of everyone." I nodded, forced myself to stand, to breathe. "Thank you," I whispered. "I'm sorry, I saw him and I panicked and you were there and it's fine." He studied me with those winter storm eyes. "But I think we should have a conversation, somewhere private." Every instinct I'd honed over 6 months of running screamed at me to say no, to walk away, to never see this stranger again. But Marcus had found me, which meant I couldn't stay in Portland, couldn't stay anywhere without a plan. And something about the way Marcus had looked at Dimitri, that flicker of fear, made me curious. Who was this man that a cop was afraid of him? "Okay," I heard myself say. "Somewhere public, though. A coffee shop or... My car is parked 2 blocks from here." Dimitri's hand remained on my waist, guiding me through the crowd. "I'll take you somewhere safe. Then we'll talk." Safe. The word felt foreign. I hadn't been safe in 3 years. His car was a black sedan, the kind that costs more than most people make in a year. Leather interior, tinted windows, the kind of car that whispers money and power. I hesitated at the passenger door. Dimitri noticed. "You just made an interesting choice back there," he said quietly, grabbing my arm. "Let's hope you survive it." The words should have terrified me. Instead, they felt like the first honest thing anyone had said to me in months. I got in the car. The engine purred to life. Rain drummed against the windshield. And as we pulled away from the market, I watched Marcus in the side mirror, standing in the rain, phone pressed to his ear, his eyes following our car until we turned the corner. "Who are you?" I asked. Dimitri's hands were steady on the wheel. "Someone your ex-husband has been trying to destroy for a very long time." My stomach dropped. "What does that mean?" "It means," he said, glancing at me with those cold gray eyes, "that you just made both of us targets." The drive lasted 20 minutes, but it felt like hours. Dimitri didn't speak, didn't turn on the radio, just drove with the kind of focused silence that made every second stretch. I kept my hands in my lap to stop them from shaking. "Where are we going?" I finally asked. "Somewhere your ex-husband won't find you tonight." He took a left turn down a street I didn't recognize. "Then we're going to have a very honest conversation about Detective Marcus Halstead." The way he said Marcus's name, clinical, detached, sent chills down my spine. We pulled into an underground parking garage beneath a downtown high-rise. The kind of building with a doorman and security cameras and monthly rent that cost more than I used to make in 6 months. Dimitri parked in a reserved spot marked with a number but no name. Professional. Anonymous. "This way," he said, leading me to a private elevator that required a keycard. The doors slid open silently. We stepped inside. The elevator didn't have buttons, just a keypad where Dimitri entered a code. Paranoid much? I tried to joke, but my voice came out wrong. Cautious, he corrected. There's a difference. The elevator rose smoothly. My ears popped. When the doors opened, they revealed a penthouse that took my breath away. Floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the city. Minimalist furniture that probably cost more than my entire childhood home. Everything was clean lines and expensive taste. Make yourself comfortable, Dimitri said, shrugging off his coat. Underneath, he wore a perfectly tailored suit. I'll get you something to drink. You look like you need it. I stood frozen in the entryway. I should go. This was a mistake. I shouldn't have involved you in my mess. Too late. He walked to a bar cart and poured amber liquid into 2 glasses. Your ex-husband saw us together. In his mind, you're already involved with me. Running now won't change that. He was right. I hated that he was right. I took the glass he offered. Bourbon. It burned going down, but the warmth helped. Sit, Dimitri said. It wasn't a request. I sat on a leather couch that probably cost more than my car used to. He sat across from me, studying me like I was a puzzle he was trying to solve. How long were you married to Marcus? He asked. 3 years. Together for 4 before that. And when did the abuse start? I flinched at the word. Even now, hearing it out loud felt like exposure. About 3 years ago, right after we got married. Something flickered in Dimitri's eyes. 3 years. Interesting timing. What does that mean? Before he could answer, a door opened. A man walked in, shorter than Dimitri, built like a boxer, with a scar cutting through his left eyebrow. He took one look at me and his expression hardened. Boss, we need to talk. His voice was gravel and suspicion. Privately. Jax, this is Alara. Alara, Jax Torin. He works for me. Jax didn't offer his hand. We need to talk, he repeated. Now. Dimitri stood. Stay here, he said to me. Don't touch anything, don't leave. They walked into another room, but the door didn't close all the way. Their voices carried. Are you insane? Jax hissed. Bringing her here? That's Halstead's wife. Ex-wife, Dimitri corrected calmly. Doesn't matter. This is too convenient, boss. Woman shows up out of nowhere, grabs your arm, plays damsel. That's a plant. That's a setup. My stomach twisted. A plant. Of course that's what they'd think. I don't think so, Dimitri said. You don't think so? Marcus Halstead has been trying to take you down for 3 years. He's obsessed with destroying the Cade Syndicate. And suddenly his ex-wife, just happens to need rescuing right in front of you? You're smarter than this. Cade Syndicate. The name meant nothing to me. But the way Jack said it, with fear and respect mixed together, told me everything I needed to know. Dimitri was a criminal, not just any criminal, someone important, someone dangerous, and Marcus had been hunting him. Run a full background check, Dimitri said. Medical records, police reports, everything. I want to know if she's telling the truth. And if she's not? Silence. Then we handle it. The cold way he said those words made my blood freeze. Handle it. Like I was a problem to be solved. A loose end to be tied up. I should have run right then. Should have walked out the door and taken my chances with Marcus. But where would I go? Marcus had found me once. He'd find me again. They came back into the room. Jax looked at me like I was a bomb that might explode. Dimitri's face revealed nothing. Jax is going to ask you some questions, Dimitri said. I suggest you answer honestly. For the next hour, Jax interrogated me. Where did I meet Marcus? When did the abuse start? Did I ever file police reports? Why did I run? Ias answered everything. Told him about the broken wrists that healed wrong, the restraining order that disappeared, the time Marcus held my head underwater in the bathtub until I passed out, then told the hospital I'd slipped and fallen. By the end, Jax's expression had shifted from suspicion to something that might have been pity. "I'll verify everything," he said to Dmitri. "But if even half of what she's saying is true—" "I know," Dmitri said quietly. Jax left. The silence felt heavy. "I'm sorry," I said, "for dragging you into this, for making you a target. I saw him and I couldn't think and—" "Stop apologizing." Dmitri poured himself another drink. "I'm going to ask you a question, and I need you to think very carefully before you answer." I nodded. "How long were you married to Detective Marcus Halstead before you realized he was hunting me?" The room tilted. "What?" "Marcus has been obsessed with destroying my organization for 3 years. He's dedicated his career to taking me down. So I need to know, did you know about this? Were you aware of what your husband was doing?" "No." The word came out too loud. I don't even know who you are. I grabbed your arm because you were there and Marcus was coming and I was terrified. That's it. That's all." Dmitri studied me for a long moment. "I believe you," he finally said, "which makes our situation significantly more complicated." "Why?" He turned to face me fully. "Because you're the wife of my enemy, and I just painted a target on both our backs by protecting you in public. Marcus will assume you know something about me, about my organization. He'll come after you harder than before." The weight of what I'd done crashed over me. I'd been so desperate to escape Marcus that I hadn't thought about consequences, hadn't considered that the stranger I grabbed might have his own dangerous life. So what now? My voice was barely a whisper. Dimitri's gray eyes held mine. "Now we figure out exactly what Detective Marcus Halstead is willing to do to get to me, and whether you're strong enough to survive what comes next." Outside the windows, Portland glittered like broken glass, beautiful and dangerous, just like the man standing in front of me. I didn't sleep that night. Dmitri gave me a guest room. King-sized bed, pristine white sheets, windows that overlooked the city. It should have felt safe. Instead, I lay awake listening to every sound, wondering if Marcus was already tracking me down, wondering what I'd gotten myself into. Around 3 a.m, I gave up trying to sleep and padded out to the living room. The lights were off, but the city glow through the windows provided enough light to see by. Dmitri sat on the couch, laptop open, phone pressed to his ear. He spoke in low tones, words I couldn't quite catch. When he saw me, he ended the call. "Can't sleep?" he asked. "Can you?" I countered. A ghost of a smile crossed his face. "Not often." I sat down, keeping distance between us. "So, the Cade Syndicate, that's you?" "That's me." "And Marcus is trying to destroy everything I've built, put me in prison for the rest of my life, or kill me, whichever comes first." He said it casually, like we were discussing the weather. "Why?" Dmitri closed his laptop. 3 years ago, a federal prosecutor was murdered, shot in his home. The case went cold, but Marcus convinced his superiors that my organization was responsible. He's been on a crusade ever since. "Did you?" The question slipped out before I could stop it. "Kill the prosecutor?" "No." His gray eyes met mine. "But I can't prove that, which is exactly Marcus's strategy. Build a case on circumstantial evidence and public pressure until the system has no choice but to act." I thought about Marcus's obsession with work over the past 3 years. The late nights, the angry phone calls. The way he'd come home in a rage and take it out on me. That's when he started hitting me, I said slowly. 3 years ago, right after that prosecutor was killed. Dimitri leaned forward. Tell me exactly when it started. The date, if you remember. I remembered. You don't forget the first time your husband's fist connects with your face. November 7th, 3 years ago. He came home late, drunk, ranting about some case that was going nowhere. I asked if he wanted to talk about it. He backhanded me so hard I saw stars. Dimitri pulled out his phone, typed something. His jaw clenched. The prosecutor died November 1st. Marcus was assigned to the case November 3rd. The timeline clicked into place. He was taking out his frustration on me because he couldn't solve the case, because he couldn't catch you. You were convenient, Dimitri said quietly. A target he could control when everything else in his life felt out of control. The thought made me sick. I'd spent 3 years believing I'd done something wrong, that if I just tried harder, was quieter, was better, maybe Marcus would stop. But it was never about me. It was about the man sitting across from me. Before I could respond, Jax walked in. He looked like he hadn't slept either. Background check came back, he said, handing Dimitri a tablet. She's clean. Medical records confirm multiple injuries consistent with domestic violence over a 3-year period. Broken wrist, fractured ribs, concussion. There's also a restraining order that was filed 6 months ago and mysteriously disappeared from the court system. Dimitri scrolled through the information. Something dark crossed his face. What? I asked. He handed me the tablet. Read the hospital report from 14 months ago. I scanned the document. Female, late 20s, presented to ER with severe bruising and near drowning incident. Patient claims she slipped and fell in bathtub. I remember that, I whispered. Marcus told them I'd been drinking, that I was clumsy. They believed him because he was a cop and I was just his hysterical wife. Keep reading, Dimitri said. His voice had gone cold. I scrolled down. There was a note from the attending physician. Injury pattern inconsistent with reported cause. Bruising suggests sustained force applied to back of head. Reported to social services, but patient declined to press charges. Someone had tried to help me, and I'd been too scared to accept it. There's more, Jax said. He didn't sound suspicious anymore. He sounded angry. Boss, you need to see this. Dimitri stood, gesturing for me to follow. We walked into what looked like a home office. Desk, filing cabinets, computer setup that would make a tech company jealous. Jax pulled up files on the main monitor. Crime scene photos, police reports, cases dating back 3 years. These are all murders Marcus blamed on the Cade Syndicate, Jax explained. 8 victims total, all supposedly connected to you, boss. Dimitri studied the photos with professional detachment. I've seen these before. Marcus has been building this case for years. Right, but look at this one. Jax clicked on a file dated 9 months ago. A woman's body, found in an alley. The crime scene photos were brutal. I turned away. I couldn't look. Victim was beaten to death, Jax continued. Marcus closed the case as gang violence related to the Cade Syndicate. Said it fit your organization's pattern. Except I've never ordered a hit like that, Dimitri said. That's personal. That's rage. Exactly. Jax pulled up another photo, the victim's injuries in detail. Now look at this report from Alara's medical file, the one from 18 months ago. He put them side by side. My hospital report, the dead woman's autopsy. The injury patterns were identical, the same type of bruising, The same focus on the head and torso, the same rage-fueled violence. My stomach lurched. I barely made it to the trash can before I vomited. Dimitri was there instantly, holding my hair back, his hand steady on my shoulder. "Breathe," he said quietly. "Just breathe." I couldn't finish the sentence, couldn't say it out loud. "That's the same pattern Marcus left on you," Dimitri finished. His voice was ice. "Your ex-husband didn't just frame my organization for murder. He committed murder and blamed it on me." The room spun. I sank into a chair, my whole body shaking. "There's more," Jack said, but Dimitri shot him a look. "Give her a minute." But I needed to know, needed to understand the full scope of what Marcus had done. "Show me," I said. "All of it." Jax hesitated, then pulled up more files, more victims, more cases where Marcus had blamed the Cade Syndicate. "We've been trying to prove our innocence for 3 years," Dimitri said. "But Marcus is a decorated detective. Juries believe cops. They don't believe mafia bosses." "How many?" I asked. "How many people did he kill?" "We think 4, maybe 5. Jax's voice was grim. "The others are legitimate crimes we had nothing to do with, but Marcus added them to his case file to make the pattern stronger." I thought about Marcus coming home late, the smell of bleach on his clothes sometimes, the way he'd shower immediately, stay in the bathroom for an hour. I'd thought he was working crime scenes. He was creating them. Why? The question came out broken. Why would he do this? "Career advancement," Dimitri said flatly. "The detective who brings down a major crime organization. That's a fast track to promotion. Awards. Maybe even federal positions. He built his career on murdering innocent people and framing you for it." I felt hollow. And he used me as his perfect cover. The loving wife at home. The stable family man. Yes. The word hung in the air like a death sentence. I stood up. My legs felt weak, but I forced them to hold me. "I want to help you take him down." Dimitri studied me. "This isn't your fight." "Yes, it is." My voice was stronger now. "He destroyed my life, destroyed those women's lives. He's been getting away with murder because everyone believes he's the hero and you're the villain. But I know the truth now, and I can help prove it." "It's dangerous," Dimitri warned. "If Marcus finds out you're helping me, he's going to come after me anyway. You said it yourself, so I might as well make it count." Jax looked at his boss. "She's got a point. Halstead's ex-wife testifying against him? That's powerful." Dimitri was quiet for a long moment. Then he nodded. "All right, but we do this carefully, methodically. Marcus has spent 3 years building his case against me. We need to be smarter." "What do we do first?" I asked. "First," Dimitri said, "we prove that the restraining order you filed didn't just disappear. We prove it was deliberately buried. That gives us leverage." "And then?" His gray eyes held mine. "Then we show the world exactly what kind of monster your ex-husband really is." Outside, dawn was breaking over Portland. The city looked clean in the morning light, almost innocent. But I knew better now. Monsters didn't always hide in the shadows. Sometimes they wore badges and wedding rings. Sometimes they looked like the person you'd promised to love forever. And sometimes, the dangerous stranger you grabbed in desperation turned out to be the only one willing to help you fight back. If this story has you holding your breath, there's so much more darkness and light waiting in the shadows. Don't miss what comes next. "There's something else you need to know," Jack said quietly. He pulled up one more file. I looked at the screen. My blood turned to ice. The restraining order hadn't just been buried. It had been dismissed by a specific judge. Judge Raymond Coulter. Why does that name matter? I asked. Dimitri's expression was grim. Because Judge Coulter is on our radar for entirely different reasons. We've suspected for months that he's taking money from someone to make cases disappear. We just didn't know who was paying him. Until now, Jax finished. The pieces fell into place. Marcus hadn't just made my restraining order disappear. He'd paid someone to do it, which meant he was connected to corruption that went beyond the police department. How deep does this go? I whispered. Dimitri met my eyes. That's exactly what we're going to find out. I couldn't sleep for 3 days straight. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw those crime scene photos. Those women. The way their injuries mirrored mine, like Marcus had been practicing on me before he graduated to murder, like I'd been his rough draft. It was 3 a.m. when I gave up trying and found myself on Dimitri's balcony, 32 floors above the city. The November air bit through my borrowed sweater, but I welcomed the cold. It made me feel real, made me feel alive. You're making a habit of this. Dimitri's voice came from behind me. The insomnia. I didn't turn around. Seems like we both are. He joined me at the railing, 2 cups of coffee in his hands. He'd learned how I took it, black with 1 sugar. The small gesture of remembering felt bigger than it should. I keep thinking about those women, I said quietly. How Marcus probably told them he loved them too. How they probably believed the lies right up until the moment My voice broke. Stop. Dimitri's hand covered mine on the railing, warm, steady. You can't carry their deaths. That's Marcus's burden, not yours. But I could have stopped him. If I'd been braver, if I'd fought back sooner, maybe... No. His voice was firm. You survived. That took more courage than you know. Those women, their deaths are on him. Only him. I finally looked at him. He'd lost the suit, wearing just a black t-shirt and jeans. He looked younger like this, more human. Less like the dangerous crime boss everyone feared. Do you ever feel guilty? I asked. About the things your organization has done? He was quiet for a long moment. Every day. My father built this syndicate on blood and fear. When he died and I took over, I tried to change things. No civilian casualties, no drugs, no trafficking. But we're still criminals. Still operating outside the law. Still hurting people, even if we follow our own code. Why not just walk away? Because 200 people depend on me for their livelihoods. Because if I walk away, someone worse takes over. Because... He paused. Because sometimes you're so deep in the wreckage, you can't see a way out. You just try to survive it. I understood that. God, did I understand that. We're both trying to survive our own wreckage, I said. Yeah. His thumb brushed across my knuckles. We are. The moment stretched between us, fragile and dangerous. Then his phone buzzed, shattering it. Dimitri checked the screen and his expression darkened. You need to see this. We went back inside where Jax had the news playing on the main screen. My stomach dropped. It was Marcus, standing at a podium, badge visible, cameras flashing. The banner below read, Breaking, detective's wife kidnapped by crime boss. Mentally unstable wife has been taken by Dimitri Cade, known leader of the Cade syndicate, Marcus was saying, his voice thick with false emotion. Ilara is vulnerable, suffering from severe psychological issues. I'm asking Mr. Cade to please release her safely so she can get the help she needs. That son of a... I couldn't finish. My hands were shaking with rage. He's weaponizing the system again, Jack said. Making you look crazy, him look like the concerned husband. Every cop in the city will be looking for you now. Not just cops, Dimitri said grimly. This is a public appeal, which means he's backed into a corner and trying to force my hand. What do we do? I asked. Before anyone could answer, Dimitri's phone rang. He answered, listened. Then his face went cold in a way that made my blood freeze. When? He asked. How many witnesses? A pause. Get our people out of there. Now. He ended the call and looked at Jax. Someone just tried to rob one of our legitimate businesses. 2 of our guys are dead. The shooters left Cade's syndicate calling cards at the scene. A frame job, Jax said immediately. Obviously. But the timing... Dimitri's eyes met mine. This is Marcus escalating. He's not just coming after me anymore. He's trying to start a war. My mind was reeling. But why would he... Because wars create chaos, Dimitri interrupted. And in chaos, people disappear. Bodies disappear. Evidence disappears. The implication hit me like ice water. He's planning to kill me and blame it on you. Not just you. Dimitri pulled up something on his tablet. 3 weeks ago, a witness in one of Marcus's cases was murdered, supposedly gang-related. The witness was going to testify that she'd seen Marcus at a crime scene he claimed he never visited. Let me guess, I said. Marcus blamed the Cade syndicate. He's been eliminating anyone who could expose him while simultaneously building a case against me. 2 birds, 1 stone. Dimitri's voice was ice. And now he's positioned you as his kidnapped, mentally ill wife. When you turn up dead, no one will question that I killed you. The room felt too small suddenly, too hot. I couldn't breathe. Alara, Dimitri was in front of me, hands on my shoulders. Look at me. Breathe. We're not going to let that happen. He's planned everything, I gasped. Every step. He married me to look stable. He abused me to keep me quiet. He's been murdering people and framing you for years. This isn't just about revenge or his career. This is... What? Dimitri prompted gently. I looked up at him, the truth crystallizing with horrifying clarity. This is what he enjoys. The control, the power, the game. His career is just an excuse. He gets off on it. Dimitri's jaw clenched. Then we take away his game, his power, his control, all of it. How? By exposing him before he can make his next move. Dimitri pulled up files on the tablet. Jax, call Nadia Cross at the FBI. Tell her we have evidence linking a decorated detective to multiple murders, judicial corruption, and organized crime. She won't believe us, Jax said. We're criminals. Halstead's a hero cop. She'll believe the evidence, and she'll believe Alara. I stared at him. You want me to go to the FBI? Not yet. First, we need to connect all the pieces, show them it's not just about Marcus framing me, it's about something bigger. Dimitri pulled up another file, and my blood ran cold. It was a list of names, businesses, transaction records. What is this? I asked. This, Dimitri said, is what Jax's team uncovered while digging into Judge Coulter's finances. The judge isn't just corrupt. He's on the payroll of the Volkov Bratva. The name meant nothing to me, but Jax cursed under his breath. The Volkov Bratva is a Russian organization, Dimitri explained. They're everything my father's syndicate used to be. Drugs, trafficking, violence without code or conscience. They've been trying to move into Portland for 5 years. My organization has been stopping them. The pieces fell into place like dominoes. Marcus isn't working alone. No. Dimitri's voice was grim. He's working for Volkov. Every murder he's blamed on me? Those were Volkov hits. He's been eliminating my associates, framing me for Volkov's crimes, and building his career in the process. When I go down, Volkov moves in unopposed. And Judge Coulter buries any evidence that might expose them, I finished, including my restraining order. It's not just the judge. Jax pulled up more files. We're finding connections everywhere. Prosecutors, other cops, city council members. This goes way deeper than we thought. I felt sick. How long has this been happening? 3 years, Dmitri said. Since the prosecutor was murdered. That wasn't about me at all. He was investigating Volkov. Marcus killed him, framed my organization, and got himself assigned to the case. Since then, he's been systematically destroying my syndicate while helping Volkov build theirs. The room spun. I was married to someone who's been working for the Russian Mafia this whole time. You were married to someone who used you as cover, Dmitri corrected. The stable family man, the devoted husband, the perfect disguise for a killer working for organized crime. My whole marriage had been a lie. Every moment, every anniversary, every time Marcus said he loved me, he was really thinking about which murder to frame on Dmitri next, which crime scene to create, which life to destroy. I want to fight back, I said, and my voice didn't shake anymore. It was pure steel. I want to destroy him the way he destroyed me, the way he destroyed those women. Tell me how. Dmitri studied me for a long moment. Are you sure? Because once we start this, there's no going back. Marcus will know you've turned against him. Volkov will know. You'll be a target for the rest of your life. I'm already a target. At least this way, I'm fighting back. Something shifted in Dmitri's expression. Respect, maybe. Or recognition, one survivor seeing another. All right, he said. Then we do this right. We gather evidence. We build a case so airtight that Marcus's connections can't bury it. And we make sure that when we move, we take down everyone. Marcus, Volkov, Judge Coulter, all of them. How long will that take? Weeks, maybe. We have to be careful. One wrong move and they'll know we're onto them. We don't have weeks, Jax interrupted. He was staring at his phone, his face pale. Boss, we've got a problem, a big one. Dmitri took the phone, read whatever was on the screen. His hands clenched so tight the knuckles went white. What? I demanded. What is it? He looked at me, and for the first time since I'd met him, I saw genuine fear in those gray eyes. Marcus just filed a missing persons report for you. But he didn't just go to the police. He's gone to the media. Your face is on every news channel in the state. Mentally ill woman kidnapped by dangerous crime boss. He's made you famous, Alara, which means hiding you just became impossible. The full weight of it hit me. Marcus hadn't just escalated. He'd declared war, and he'd made sure the entire world was watching. There's more, Jack said quietly. One of our informants just reached out. Volkov knows about her. He's issued orders to his people. Find Alara Voss, kill her, make it look like the Cade Syndicate did it. The safe house, the protection, none of it mattered anymore. I was a target with a spotlight on me, and somewhere out there, both my ex-husband and the Russian Mafia were hunting me. Dmitri's hand found mine again, steady, warm, an anchor in the chaos. I won't let them touch you, he said. I looked at this man, this dangerous, complicated criminal man who'd become my only ally in a war I never wanted. I know, I said, and I meant it. Outside the windows, Portland woke to the news of my kidnapping, my face on every screen. Marcus playing the grieving husband, the perfect performance. But monsters make mistakes. They get arrogant, overconfident, and we were going to make Marcus pay for every single one. So, what's the plan? I asked. Dimitri's smile was cold and sharp. We give him exactly what he wants. We let him think he's winning. And then, we destroy him. If you're enjoying the story, comment below where you're watching from and your favorite part yet, because so many twists still lie ahead. We'd been arguing for an hour. Dimitri paced his office like a caged wolf, while Jax watched from the doorway, staying carefully neutral. Absolutely not. Dimitri's voice was ice. It's too dangerous. It's the only way, I shot back. You said it yourself. We need evidence. We need Marcus on record confessing. A wire is the fastest way to get that. He's killed 4 people that we know of, Dimitri said. If he suspects for even a second that you're recording him, he won't, because I'll give him exactly what he expects. His broken, scared wife coming back because she has nowhere else to go. You're not broken. The way he said it, fierce and certain, made my chest tight. No, but Marcus thinks I am. That's his weakness. He underestimates me. Always has. Dimitri stopped pacing and looked at me. Really looked at me. This isn't just about evidence for you. This is about facing him. He was right. Part of me needed to look Marcus in the eye and let him see that I wasn't afraid anymore, that he hadn't destroyed me. I need to do this, I said quietly. Not just for the case. For me. The silence stretched between us. Then Dimitri pulled out his phone. I know someone at the FBI, Agent Nadia Cross. She's been building a case against Volkov for 2 years. If we bring her solid evidence against Marcus and his connection to the Bratva, she'll move on it. You trust her? I asked. As much as I trust any Fed. He dialed. Which isn't saying much, but she's clean, doesn't take bribes, actually cares about doing her job right. The call connected. I listened as Dimitri explained the situation. Marcus, Volkov, the murders, my willingness to wear a wire. When he finished, there was a long pause on the other end. She wants to meet you, Dimitri said. Tonight. Neutral location. Tell her yes. Agent Nadia Cross looked nothing like I expected. Mid-30s, wearing jeans and a leather jacket, blonde hair pulled back in a practical ponytail. She could have been anyone. Which was probably the point. We met in a parking garage downtown. Dimitri's choice. Somewhere with multiple exits, and his people watching. Nadia came alone. Mrs. Halstead, she said. Just Alara. We're divorced. Right, sorry. She pulled out a tablet. I'm going to be direct with you. I've been investigating Viktor Volkov for 2 years. We know he's running operations in Portland, but we can't prove it. Every time we get close, evidence disappears. Witnesses recant. Cases fall apart. Because Marcus is helping him, I said. That's what Mr. Cade claims. But I need proof. Real, actionable proof. Her eyes were sharp. You understand what you're volunteering for? Your ex-husband is a decorated detective with friends in every department. If this goes wrong, it won't. You can't know that. Then I'll deal with the consequences. I met her gaze steadily. Those women Marcus killed deserve justice, and I deserve to be free from him. Really free. Not just physically. I need to know he can't hurt anyone else ever again. Something in Nadia's expression softened. All right. If we're doing this, we do it right. The wire needs to capture clear audio of Marcus confessing to crimes. Just being an asshole to his ex-wife isn't enough. I know how to make him talk, I said. Marcus has an ego. He can't resist bragging when he thinks he's won. And if he gets violent, then your people intervene, right? I looked at Dimitri. He nodded, but his jaw was clenched. At the first sign of danger, we pull the plug. Agreed, Nadia said. She pulled equipment from her bag. This is a recording device. It'll pick up everything within 15 feet. We'll also have eyes on the location through various means. She looked pointedly at Dmitri. He smiled slightly. My people will be nearby, watching. As long as they don't interfere with the arrest, Nadia warned. They won't. You have my word. It was surreal, watching a mafia boss and an FBI agent negotiate terms like they were business partners. But I guess in a way, they were. Both wanted Marcus and Volkov behind bars, just for different reasons. Nadia fitted the wire under my clothes, a small device that rested between my shoulder blades, nearly invisible under a sweater. She taught me how to signal if I was in danger, touch my left ear twice. Where and when? She asked. I'd been thinking about this. Tomorrow night, 7 p.m. There's a restaurant Marcus used to take me to, Il Giardino. He always liked it because it made him feel sophisticated. Another power play, making me come to him on his territory. I'll have agents positioned around the restaurant, Nadia said, but they'll stay out of sight until we have what we need. You get him talking about the murders, about Volkov, about anything that connects him to the crimes. Can you do that? Yes. Nadia left with plans to coordinate with her team. When it was just me and Dmitri in the car, silence fell heavy between us. You don't have to do this, he said finally. Yes, I do. Alara, he stopped, started again. After tomorrow, if this works, you're free. Really free. What will you do? The question caught me off guard. I'd been so focused on surviving, on fighting back, that I hadn't thought past it. I don't know, I admitted. I've been afraid for so long, I don't know who I am without it. You're strong, brave, stubborn as hell. He said it like those were good things. Whatever you decide to do, you'll be incredible at it. What about you? I asked. If we take down Volkov and Marcus, what happens to the Cade Syndicate? His hands tightened on the steering wheel. Honestly, I don't know. This organization, it's all I've known since my father died. But lately, I've been thinking maybe there's another way. Maybe I don't have to be this forever. What would you want to be instead? He glanced at me, and something in his expression made my heart skip. Something better. We didn't talk the rest of the drive back, but when we reached the penthouse, Dmitri caught my hand before I could go to my room. Tomorrow, he said, after everything changes, can we talk about what happens next? For the case, I asked, even though I knew that wasn't what he meant. For us. The word hung in the air. Us. Like we were an us. Like this connection that had formed between us, built on survival and understanding and stolen moments, was something real. Yeah, I said softly. We can talk. He lifted my hand and pressed a kiss to my knuckles. It was old-fashioned and gentle, and made me feel like I was made of something precious instead of something broken. Get some sleep, he said. Tomorrow's going to be hard. But I didn't sleep. I lay in bed staring at the ceiling, thinking about Marcus, about the restaurant where he'd proposed, getting down on one knee in front of everyone, making a spectacle, making me feel like I had to say yes, about all the meals where he'd criticized what I ordered, how I dressed, how I spoke, about how tomorrow I was walking back into that place as someone different, someone who saw him clearly, someone who wouldn't flinch anymore. My phone buzzed, a text from an unknown number. Looking forward to seeing you tomorrow, baby. I knew you'd come back to me. You always do. Marcus. Somehow he'd gotten a message to me despite Dimitri's security. I deleted it. Then I texted Nadia. He already knows about tomorrow. Be ready for anything. Her response was immediate. We will be. You ready for this? I thought about those women, the ones who didn't get a chance to fight back, the ones whose murders Marcus pinned on an innocent man while he walked free. Yes, I typed. I'm ready. The next evening, I stood in front of the mirror in my guest room, barely recognizing myself. I dressed carefully, a simple black dress Marcus used to say I looked good in, hair down the way he preferred, just enough makeup to look like I'd been crying but was trying to hide it. The perfect image of his broken wife crawling back. Dmitri appeared in the doorway. He'd been hovering all day, checking the plan, triple-checking the wire, making sure his people were positioned correctly. You don't have to do this, he said for the 100th time. I turned to face him. Stop asking me that. He crossed the room in 2 strides and pulled me into his arms. It wasn't romantic. It was desperate, like he was trying to memorize the feel of me in case something went wrong. Promise me, he said against my hair. Promise me you'll signal if anything feels off. If he does anything that scares you. I promise. I pulled back to look at him. But Dmitri? I'm not scared. Not of him. Not anymore. Something fierce and proud flashed in his eyes. Then he kissed me. It was soft and careful and tasted like fear and hope mixed together. His hands cradled my face like I was something that might break. But I wasn't fragile anymore. I was steel wrapped in skin. When we pulled apart, his forehead rested against mine. After tonight, he whispered, everything changes. I know. Good luck. I smiled. I don't need luck. I have the truth. And that's more powerful than any lie Marcus ever told. Il Giardino looked exactly like I remembered. White tablecloths, candlelight, the kind of place that pretended to be romantic, but really just existed to show off how much money you had. Marcus was already there, sitting at our usual table. When he saw me, his face lit up with that smile I used to think was love. Now I saw it for what it was. Possession. Alara. He stood, came around the table like he was going to embrace me. I'm so glad you came. I've been so worried. I let him hug me even though my skin crawled. The wire was recording. Nadia's people were watching. This was it. Hi, Marcus, I said, pulling away. We need to talk. Of course, baby. Of course. Sit down. Let's talk about getting you the help you need. The help I need. Like I was the problem. Like I was the one who needed fixing. I sat down across from him, smoothing my dress, playing the part. Tell me about Dmitri Cade, Marcus said immediately. Did he hurt you? Did he threaten you? No, he protected me. Marcus's expression hardened for just a second before the mask slipped back into place. Alara, you don't understand who that man is, the things he's done. Actually, I said quietly, I think I understand perfectly. That's why I needed to see you, to give you a chance to tell me the truth. The truth? He laughed, but it sounded wrong. Baby, I've been trying to tell you the truth for months. You're the one who ran away. I ran because you broke my wrist and my ribs and held my head underwater until I passed out. The couple at the next table glanced over. Marcus's smile never wavered, but his eyes went cold. That's the mental illness talking, he said loud enough for them to hear. The doctors said you'd have false memories. It's part of your condition. So that was his play. Paint me as crazy. Make anything I said sound like delusion. Fine. 2 could play that game. You're right, I said, leaning forward. I must be confused. Maybe you can help me understand some things, like why my restraining order disappeared from the court system. His jaw clenched. That was a clerical error. Was it, or was it Judge Coulter doing you a favor? Something flickered in Marcus's expression. Fear. Just for a second, but I caught it. I don't know what you're talking about. Don't you? I kept my voice soft, concerned, playing the part of the confused wife trying to make sense of things. Because I've been doing some thinking, Marcus, about the timeline, about how the abuse started 3 years ago, right after that federal prosecutor was murdered, the one investigating the Volkov Bratva. Marcus went very still. That's when you became obsessed with Dmitry Cade, I continued. When you started coming home angry, when you started hitting me. I always thought it was because the case was frustrating you. But what if it was something else? What if you killed that prosecutor and needed someone to frame for it? You're insane. But his voice shook slightly. Am I? Or am I finally seeing clearly for the first time in 3 years? I leaned back, watching him. You married me to look stable. The perfect family man detective. You used me as cover while you murdered people and blamed Dmitry Cade. And when I tried to leave, you couldn't let me go because I was part of your cover story. Marcus's hand shot across the table, grabbing my wrist, the same grip that had broken it twice. But this time, I didn't flinch. You don't know what you're talking about, he hissed. You're going to shut up, come home with me, and we're going to fix this little episode of yours. Episode? I smiled. Is that what you call it when your victims fight back? His grip tightened. You're not a victim, Alara. You're property, mine, and I protect what's mine. Like you protected those women you killed, the ones whose murders you pinned on Dmitry. Those women... He stopped, realized what he was about to say, but it was too late. His ego had won. Those women were necessary, Marcus said quietly, leaning close. Collateral damage. Volkov needed certain people eliminated. I eliminated them. And framing Cade for it, that was just good business, building my career while helping clear the playing field. So you admit it. My heart was pounding, but my voice stayed steady. You killed them. You work for Volkov, and you've been framing an innocent man. Marcus's eyes narrowed, then widened. His free hand moved to my collar, finding the wire. You bitch. Everything happened at once. Marcus yanked me across the table. Glass shattered. People screamed. FBI agents flooded the restaurant, guns drawn. FBI, hands where we can see them. But Marcus already had his gun out, pressed to my head, using me as a shield just like he'd used me as cover for 3 years. Everyone back, he shouted. I'm a police detective. This woman is mentally unstable and dangerous. Detective Halstead. Nadia's voice was calm but firm. She stood 10 feet away, weapon trained on Marcus. We have your confession recorded. It's over. Let her go. You have nothing. Marcus's arm around my throat tightened. That recording is inadmissible. I'm a decorated officer and she's my disturbed ex-wife. No jury will believe her. They'll believe the evidence, Nadia said. Dmitry Cade has been documenting your frame jobs for 3 years. We have witnesses who can place you at crime scenes you claimed never to visit. We have financial records linking you to Volkov. And now we have your confession. You're done. Marcus's arm shook. I could feel his desperation, his rage, his refusal to accept that he'd lost. Marcus, I said quietly, let me go. You can't win this. I always win, he growled. I'm the hero. I'm the good guy. And you? You're nothing. You were always nothing. Then you won't mind losing me. I drove my elbow back hard into his solar plexus, exactly like Dmitry had taught me. Marcus's grip loosened for just a second. It was enough, I dropped and rolled. Gunshots rang out, not from Nadia, but from outside. The restaurant windows exploded. Men in black tactical gear flooded in. Not cops, not FBI. Volkov's people. They'd come to tie up loose ends. And suddenly, the arrest turned into a war zone. Chaos. That's the only word for what happened next. Volkov's men came through every entrance. Front door, kitchen, even through the shattered windows. They weren't here to arrest anyone. They were here to eliminate everyone who could testify. FBI agents engaged immediately. Tables flipped for cover. Civilians screamed and ran. And I was on the floor in the middle of it all, scrambling behind an overturned table as bullets tore through the restaurant. Alara! Nadia's voice cut through the noise. She fired 3 shots, dropping one of Volkov's men, then grabbed my arm. Stay down! But I was looking for Marcus. He'd disappeared in the chaos, probably running like the coward he was. Then I saw him, near the back exit, phone to his ear, still trying to save himself even as his whole world collapsed. More gunshots. The front door exploded inward, and Dmitri came through with Jax and 6 of his men, weapons drawn. This is FBI business, Nadia shouted. Tell that to Volkov. Dmitri's eyes found mine across the restaurant. The relief in his expression lasted half a second before more of Volkov's people opened fire. Dmitri's organization and the FBI, natural enemies forced to fight side by side because the alternative was death. I'd never seen Dmitri like this. All the careful control stripped away, moving with lethal precision. He wasn't just protecting his people. He was fighting his way toward me. A man in tactical gear rounded my table. I didn't think. I grabbed a broken bottle and drove it into his leg. He went down screaming. Not dead, but out of the fight. Nice. Jax appeared next to me, providing cover fire. Boss is going to have a heart attack when he finds out you took one down yourself. Where is he? I shouted over the gunfire. Jax pointed. Dmitri was pinned behind the bar, 3 of Volkov's men advancing on his position. Without thinking, I grabbed the tactical vest off the man I'd stabbed and threw it across the restaurant. It landed near Dmitri with a heavy thud. He looked at where it came from. Saw me. And for a moment, in the middle of a firefight, he smiled. Then Viktor Volkov himself walked through the front door. Everything stopped. He was older than I expected, maybe 60, with silver hair and cold eyes that assessed the situation instantly. 6 more men flanked him, professional, calm, ready. Enough, Volkov said in accented English. His voice carried despite the chaos. Detective Halstead, you have made a mess. Marcus emerged from the kitchen, and for the first time since I'd known him, he looked scared. Victor, I can fix this. No, you cannot. Volkov's gaze swept the restaurant, landing on me. This woman has destroyed years of work. She has exposed you, exposed our arrangement. She has cost me millions. So kill her, Marcus gestured wildly at me. That's why you're here, right? Clean up the mess. Volkov studied Marcus like he was an insect. You are the mess, detective. She is merely the consequence of your incompetence. He raised his gun, pointed it at Marcus. Wait, Marcus started to say. Dmitri moved. He launched himself from behind the bar, tackling me to the ground as Volkov's shot rang out. But the bullet wasn't meant for me. It hit Marcus square in the chest. My ex-husband dropped like a puppet with cut strings. For a moment, everyone froze. Then Volkov's attention shifted to Dmitri, still shielding my body with his. Dmitri Cade, Volkov said. We could have ruled the city together. Such a waste. He aimed at Dmitri. I saw it happen in slow motion. Saw Volkov's finger tighten on the trigger. Saw Dmitri's body tense, preparing to take a bullet to keep me safe. The shot rang out, but Dmitri didn't fall. Nadia stood 10 feet away, her weapon still raised, Volkov's blood spreading across his expensive suit. He looked down at the wound in his chest, almost surprised, then collapsed. FBI! Nadia shouted. Everyone on the ground! Now! Volkov's remaining men looked at their dead boss, then at the FBI agents surrounding them, then slowly dropped their weapons. Without Volkov, they had no reason to fight. It was over. Dmitri pulled me to my feet, his hands running over my body, checking for injuries. Are you hurt? Did they touch you? Talk to me, Alara. I'm fine. I grabbed his face, making him look at me. I'm fine. Are you? Then I saw the blood. It was spreading across his side, soaking through his shirt. The bullet that had been meant for his head had caught him in the ribs instead when he'd moved to protect me. You're shot. My voice came out strange, distant. Dmitri, you're... It's not that bad. But he swayed slightly. Medic! Jack shouted. We need a medic now. Hold on. I pressed my hands to the wound, blood hot and sticky against my palms. Don't you dare die on me. Not planning on it. His hand covered mine. But if I do, I need you to know. No deathbed confessions. You're going to be fine, and you can tell me whatever you want to tell me later. Paramedics flooded in. They tried to pull me away, but I wouldn't let go until Dmitri squeezed my hand. Go, he said. Let them work. They loaded him onto a stretcher. I tried to follow, but Nadia caught my arm. You need to be checked out too, and we need your statement while everything's fresh. I'm going with him. My voice didn't leave room for argument. Nadia looked at me for a long moment, then nodded. Jax can bring you to the hospital after, but Alara, what you did tonight, it was incredibly brave and incredibly stupid. Don't ever do anything like that again. No promises. She almost smiled. I'll need your full statement tomorrow, and you'll probably have to testify. Good. I want to testify. I want everyone to know what Marcus did, what Volkov did. They will. Nadia glanced at the bodies being covered. Marcus, Volkov, 3 of Volkov's men who died in the firefight. This is the biggest corruption case we've broken in a decade. You made that possible. But I wasn't thinking about cases or testimony. I was thinking about Dmitri bleeding in an ambulance and how he'd taken a bullet meant for me without hesitation. The hospital waiting room became my prison. Jack sat next to me, silent and solid. Other members of the Cade syndicate filtered in, dangerous men with worried faces, asking about their boss in hushed tones. He's been in surgery for 3 hours, I said to no one in particular. My hands were still stained with his blood. I'd refused to wash them. Like if I did, I'd be washing away proof that he was real, that this had all been real. He'll pull through, Jack said. Boss is too stubborn to die. He shouldn't have jumped in front of me. He cares about you. We all saw it. Jax handed me coffee I didn't remember asking for. I was wrong about you. That first night when he brought you to the penthouse, I thought you were a plant, a trap. I told him to get rid of you. Why didn't he? Because he saw something in you that reminded him of himself. Someone trapped in a nightmare trying to survive. He couldn't walk away from that, from you. The surgeon finally emerged, still in scrubs. Family of Dmitri Cade? I stood. What was I? Not family. Not really anything. I'm with him. The surgeon looked at Jax, who nodded. She's family. The bullet missed major organs, the surgeon said. He lost a lot of blood, and we had to repair some damage to the intercostal muscles, but he should make a full recovery. He's lucky. Another inch to the left, and we'd be having a different conversation. The relief nearly brought me to my knees. Jax caught my arm. "Can I see him?" I asked. "He's in recovery. Give it another hour, then someone will come get you." The longest hour of my life. When they finally let me in, Dimitri looked smaller somehow, pale against white sheets, monitors beeping steadily, IV lines running into his arm. But he was breathing, alive. I sat in the chair next to his bed and took his hand. His fingers curled around mine even though he was still unconscious. "You're an idiot," I whispered. "Taking a bullet for me. What were you thinking?" His eyes fluttered open, unfocused at first, then finding me. "That I'd rather die than watch you die." "Dimitri, I mean it." His voice was rough, scratchy. "I've lived in darkness for so long, I forgot what light looked like. Then you grabbed my arm that night in the market, and everything changed. You changed everything." Tears burned my eyes. "You saved me first. We saved each other." He pulled me closer, gentle, careful of his injury. I rested my forehead against his. "What happens now?" I asked. "Now you're free, really free. Marcus is dead, Volkov is dead, the people who were hunting you are gone." "And you?" He was quiet for a moment. "I don't know. The syndicate will need leadership, but I'm tired, Alara, tired of violence, tired of looking over my shoulder. For the first time, I'm thinking maybe there's another way to live." "Like what?" "Like something legitimate. Something that doesn't end with me in prison or dead before I'm 40. His thumb brushed across my knuckles. "But that's a future conversation. Right now, I just want to know if you'll stay. Not because you're hiding or because you need protection, but because you choose to." I thought about the past weeks, about how this man had seen me at my most desperate and never made me feel weak, how he'd trusted me with the truth even when it would have been easier to lie, how he'd built his whole life around a code, flawed and criminal, yes, but a code nonetheless. Honor among thieves, maybe, but honor all the same. "I choose to stay," I said. "I choose you." He smiled, real and unguarded. "Even though I'm a criminal?" "Even though. But Dimitri, if we're doing this, you have to let me help you build something better. Something that doesn't end with you bleeding in a hospital bed." "Deal." He pulled me down into a kiss, soft and careful and tasting like second chances. When we broke apart, I settled into the chair beside his bed, our hands still linked. "Get some sleep. I'll be here when you wake up." "Promise?" "Promise." He drifted off, and I sat watching him breathe, watching the monitors track his heartbeat. Proof of life. Proof of survival. If Alara's journey from desperation to empowerment moved you, remember? You are never too broken to rebuild. You are never too lost to find your way home. And you are never too afraid to choose courage. Subscribe for more stories of love born from chaos, hope rising from darkness, and hearts that refuse to break even when the world tries to shatter them.